Welcome back, Kelin. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Um,
Good.
got some painting done. I'm in my painting outfit, which maybe looks a little weird to some folks, but that's fine. It's a sleeveless Run the Jewels shirt that I've already gotten paint on way too early, so I took the sleeves off. I'm all
There you go.
bushy in the beard because my razor stopped working. Well, it works, but it just hurts now when it cuts hair, which you don't want.
The Manscaped one?
Oh no, that's this old one I bought from the
Oh,
store, and it's worked for
gotcha.
years, so I can't really talk shit on it other than it's like, oops, maybe time to get a new one.
Yeah, damn.
And then I'm just wearing a beanie and glasses because sometimes I like to have like that protection around my head. You know what I mean? Like
That's
sometimes I
nice.
just want to put a hood up and glasses on, and yeah.
I actually finally found a baseball hat that fits me. I have never had the luxury of a baseball hat since I've been an adult. And oh my God, I miss them.
Yeah, man.
Keep the sun out of your eyes. Oh, so nice. So shout out to Odd Job Hats.
Hell
Sponsor
yeah.
the podcast. Woo!
Odd job hats. The
Yep.
best for gigantic heads. I
Yep.
think you and me both have that in common.
Big melons. Yep.
Oh, yeah. I have a hard time finding baseball caps that fit me. I
Yep.
found one that's like as good as it's going to get. Like for now. I'm sure there's ones that fit better, but it's like
On Odd Job Hats.
it's a Utah Jazz hat that like sits over the top of my ears. So they got to like kind of
Oh,
lay
yeah.
flat under the hat.
Oh, gotcha.
But, you know, it's fine.
Yeah, you have to check it out, see what you think. I'd go for the big size, this, but yep,
I don't
they're
know. I'm
nice.
not a big baseball hat type of guy, really. I've tried it at times, and I'm like, that just doesn't feel like me.
Yeah, they got other hats too. They're all they just do big hats. It's awesome. It's
That
like the
take
only place I know of.
that actually takes me back. I think there was a time where I did have a bit of a look for it, but it's like a look I totally wouldn't rock now. So when I was in my 20s and I had like the baseball cap, but I did the bending on the brim, like baseball style or dad style.
Yeah,
And I actually still had hair, so then like my naturally kind of curly hair would curl out from underneath the hat. And I remember a couple ladies complimenting that. I guess it was sort
there
of
you
a look.
go.
And I was like, oh, all right. But then you take the hat off and you're just bald. This is like, ah. It's like kind of pulling a trick on him. So I was like, nah, I just got to embrace the bald. And bald and beanie seem to work. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But I've seen bald cats with baseball caps. Yeah, bald cats
Yeah,
with baseball caps. Yes, that is the thing.
that's the sentence.
Some people rock it, and yeah, I just never felt it was my style. I like to rock the bald head now and own it. That's the big key. But for
Yeah,
today, glasses and beanie.
yeah. Well, the hair's thin, and I'm doing the cap just to keep the sun off.
Do you
But
know what your cash in date is?
no,
You're not sure. You just feel like you know and you know.
yeah. Well, I'll look one day and be like, oh, there we
It's time.
go.
Got it. I'll leave them
Uh,
nameless because I don't know if they've come to accept their baldness yet. But I went bald super early, so I've definitely gone through the whole, philosophical crisis of it all. Like, oh god, I'm getting older, which is really at its core is all it is. You're like,
Hmm.
I can't do a thing I used to be able to do anymore.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, no more beehive hairdos and things like that.
Yep.
But yeah, it's funny. So I've like as an early um, bald bald head. Sure, yeah, as an early balder.
Baldy.
Yeah, baldy. There we go. As an early baldy, some of my friends have come to me later, and they're like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry about making." I was like, "That's fine. I don't give a shit." They're like, "But like, when do you like? What do you?" And I'm like, "Just shave it off, man. It's time.
Let's shave it off.
Don't leave the little shoehorn thing unless you're like, nope, that's the thing I'm going for. I'm going for that Stavro look. Just no, I'm gonna be a little silly with it, or and that's what's nice when you get old and start getting like gray and white in your hair. It's like for some reason it just makes more sense to like kind of grow it out a little bit again.
Yep.
It's I don't know what it is. It's just like yeah, I'm old now. It can be a little wily up there. But
Yeah.
anyways, let's get
It's an
into music.
interesting journey.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Anyway, if you ever need me to do the bald coaching, I'm there for you, man.
Nice. Someday.
One day. Um. So yeah, let's get into music. Let's get into. Okay, I'm gonna make a kind of a distinct separation. We've been bringing up new releases that we recommend, but before we
Uh-huh.
do that, what has just been your general listening lately? Like, what have you been into?
Uh, Basically, I've been on a bluegrass kick, really. I've been listening to a lot. I just have a big bluegrass playlist that's been doing good. And also the musical I did a while back called Shucked that went
Mm-hmm.
to Broadway and got nominated for a bunch of stuff. It also released its original Broadway cast recording. So I checked that out. And that was pretty fun to listen to.
All right. Hell yeah.
So, yeah,
We're gonna get into
that's
a
about what I've been
bluegrass
doing.
question later. Actually,
Ooh, nice.
very loose. It might not have anything to do with what I'm gonna ask, but
Oh yeah, one other random one.
sure.
Speaking of bluegrass, the Birds, "Sweetheart of the Rodeo" came up because I don't remember how I found it, but John Hartford played on it, and he's one of my favorites. So I decided to try it out, and I'm like, oh man, this is tasty.
John Hartford is
So
a name I hear a lot from people that are into the bluegrass.
yeah, he's fun. He's a character.
Nice. Um, before I get into any of mine, you got anything coming out? Anything to announce?
No, nothing on my end. Just still working away on the second Highland Drifters album.
Hell yeah.
That's still just in the works.
Just chugging along.
Yep, done recording. Now the fun part.
Yeah.
Arguing about mixes.
Yep. Uh, that is we got one in the can, and that's gonna come out as our single on the 15th on Bandcamp. So Gamma Pa, and our first single with Josiah on drums is The Homeless King. So we have
Nice.
released an old version of that, but this is totally new. Different vibe, different speed, different energy. Yeah, human drums.
There we go.
And that comes out on the 15th on Bandcamp, and then a week later on all the other stuff, just to try to slightly encourage people to purchase the track. Help fund us a little bit. But
Yeah, good
yeah, and
plan.
then like that's what's nice about not having a huge audience here. I don't feel like I'm spoiling too much. Those that listen to this know. We're gonna release a single every month and try to release a new song every 22nd
Hmm?
until we run out, and then smush them together into an album.
Nice.
So one of those 20 seconds is my birthday in August. So I kind of just picked the 22nd because one of those days I'll be like, hell yeah, single coming out on my birthday.
Bam. Party.
So yeah, keep your heads to the ground or two speakers and wait for the Homeless King coming out on the 15th. As far as listening, I've just been listening to a lot of XTC. Some of
Mhm.
what I'm gonna recommend as a new release actually quite a bit this week, and a lot of the jazz stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, we're gonna get into it, but I don't know. I don't know how much of a jazz head I am,
Oh, it'll be interesting to see which ones you listen to from all the lists, and
for sure.
because there is one I listened to based on part of our show that's like, holy man, I bet this is one you'll be digging, but
Yeah,
we'll see if you listen to that one.
yeah, we'll see. All right, so you got any new releases to recommend?
Yeah, I found two that I like, liked than one I just wanted to like talk about. So
All right,
it's
is
interesting.
is the talk about one jazz related or kind of its own little thing?
No, it's its own thing.
All right, so let's save that for the end of this kind of section. And we'll just do
Yeah.
quick recommends.
So the Lemon Twigs Everything Harmony is what I found that I'd never heard of. Never heard of them. Just it has a really good score on this website, so I thought I'd check it out. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like people call them just kind of like classic rock. Even they kind of do the old Beatles and Beach Boys kind of sound at
Okay.
a that older production style. Tasty tunes though, yeah. So if you like that stuff, a little bit of the classic sound, they're pretty cool.
Those lemon twigs. What again?
Everything Harmony.
Everything harmony. Nice. That did trigger me real quick to see my Spotify. You notice how I guess you use something different nowadays. What do you use to stream?
Idol.
Idle. Yeah, I'm still on Spotify. I did
Yeah.
try to go to our usual spot, like just looking at that list of new releases on Friday and test a couple things out.
Uh huh.
I didn't know if you remember on Spotify how they rearrange all the different segments.
Yeah,
So
they're always
rather than
moving them.
always having the new release right up top, we're like, ah, right there. It's like, no, today it's your shows and jump back in.
Yeah.
I'm like, I kind of appreciate that, but then not at times like this. Anyway,
I need.
to be fair, I didn't jump in that deep to anything off of that list this week, so
Mm-hmm.
we'll see if it comes back around. But I was gonna like recommend one that it was worth pointing out as far as production, but
Nice.
I will go ahead and recommend one. There's a new song from Nowhere,
Oh
who
yeah.
we've talked about before. Um, the
Lewis
if
Cole.
yeah, Nowhere, also stylized as Nowhere, all capitalized, is an American independent electronic music duo who have gained success releasing music online. The group consists of Lewis Cole, who's the drummer, and Genevieve Artadi. Artadi? Artadi. Their full band is a jazz funk act that includes saxophone, bass, and keyboard players. So we talked about them a while back. I can't remember when, but
Mm-hmm.
they have like these really great kind of instrumentally backed live performances and then music videos. And then they had their one full length album that was like a lot more keyboards and seemed like synthed out. And I remember at the time we talked about like, man, they should need to do an album with the just the band, like the jazz funk act.
Yep.
And I don't know if they're gonna do that this time or not. I hope they do. If not, I did come around on that keyboard synth album. I think it's a lot of fun. But all I would say is go check out their new single, "I'm the President," and watch
Yep,
the video. Don't just listen to the song.
the video's awesome.
Yeah, they're just funny. They got a great sense of humor. Like, not only just visually, but like there's a sense of humor to their approach to music. Like, there's that
Yep.
one part in the song where they like lift the static up, and it's like,
Yeah.
and then they just show you them doing like that's what does that to your song, dude. Like, it's kind of like a lot of fun that way. And
Yep.
they had like the choir section out in their driveway. Like, it's this them recording in this house, and they're
Yep. The living
upstairs.
room.
Yeah, they got the living room, like horn section,
Orchestra or
orchestra,
horns, yeah.
and
uh,
then one dude who's a really great piano player. They tell you his name clearly in the video, so go watch it. But one dude's upstairs with him on the keyboards, and then he runs downstairs to get on the piano and does a nice
yep.
jazzy little solo.
Mhm.
And yeah, they're just really great. And I'm just putting it out there. Do a full on jazz funk act album.
Wow.
Like, I love
You
the
know
fucking keyboards, but that would be so sweet. Maybe just do a live album. I don't know.
you know where you want to.
Yeah. And I
Come on now.
guess Genevieve and Lewis Cole have solo albums that I guess I totally missed that. So I need to go check those out. But yeah, Lewis Cole, I almost guarantee is part of that clowncore group too.
Yep.
So yeah, it's
He's
just
an
great,
interesting dude.
great creative stuff.
Indeed.
What else you got?
And when I gave a little bit of a listen to, caught my eye by the name. Their name is Shit Present.
Okay, I think I remember looking at that name.
And it's the album's called What Still Gets Me, and they're in English, like punk. I would say pop punk, but I kind of want to put the punk first. I feel like they're more punky than poppy.
Yeah,
And the lead singer actually like sounds English. I know some people have like say the female singers like kind of try to sound like American or something, or I don't know how. I haven't done too much research on the genre, but you can definitely tell she's English, and yeah,
I'll
kind of a
I'll, I'll interrupt you
cool
real
voice.
quick there and just say that there's been a huge like outpouring of like punk from Australia, and like they've
Ah,
really been owning the accent. And man, I'm gonna jumble up the names so I won't even try, but a lot of really good stuff like where it's kind of has that Cockney sound, so you think it's UK, but it's a lot of Australian,
hmm
and that's how I like my punk. I like it to lean into Cockney or Australian accents.
yeah,
I'm down to hear any other accents through punk, like, but I like it a lot more than American,
yep.
and
Oh,
especially
you
the
probably.
California one, like the Blink 182, like my oi,
Uh,
they're going, like just
January.
yeah,
Yeah.
like man, there's an interesting video I just remembered. It's like the evolution of like the California voice
Huh.
in music, or like Californian pop punk or something like that. And it's just like this certain enunciation, and like man, and I'm kind of a little bit of a sucker for Blink 182 sometimes. I ain't gonna lie. Earlier stuff, they opened up a set at Coachella, and I was like, that's fun. I remember when I was in high school. Like, I immediately, like, I can't stick around for it. Like, I'll put on Enema of the State, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, or the live album they released right after Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, and that's it.
Uh-huh.
That's all I can do.
Well,
But
I
I have
mean
to be in a really
that's a lot.
bouncy, nostalgic, like, yeah, I remember. just jacking off constantly in high school. And pizza, man, Mountain Dew.
So much Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but yeah, the punk thing. Keep the accents.
Yep.
It
Yeah, I think you
really
like this
adds to
album
it.
then.
Shit gift.
Shit present.
Oh shit present. Okay.
I
This is gonna be.
I think shit gift is better, honestly, now that you say it.
Well, yeah, but I'm in an art rock band, not punk. So it's not as rebellious. It has a nice ring to it. No, I think that'll be an ongoing thing in this. As I just try to remember the name of the band you just said. I'm like, well, fuck, I think I got it.
Yep.
Another recommendation, I've recommended this lady before, is Angel Olsen. She just released a 4-song EP called Forever Means.
Ooh.
She's just super tasty. She was the one of the artists I sent to you that I was like, this kind of has a little bit of a country vibe. And I think she plays around with that, but on this one it's a lot less of that. But it is still this like really down, like it is
Yeah.
kind of nice and thoughtful and like sparse instrumentation, but when the notes hit, they're nice, they're tasty. And it's weird. They describe her style as, this is according to Pitchfork, which, man, they make some good recommendations sometimes, but they suck other times. They liken her to acts such as The Cure, Cocteau Twins, and Susie and the Banshees, which I don't get those comparisons really.
Huh.
Might be what makes me lean into it a bit, because it's kind of like the reverbed out, nice spaciness. They say she has created a dark dream pop dealing with anxiety, and I could agree with that a lot more. It is like very poppy, but yeah, sleepy, soft, mellow.
Mm.
And you could tell she's got some shit going on in her head, though. Maybe that's the Kira Cocteau Twins thing. But I always thought it had a little. What those three bands don't have is she has like this twinge of old 70s singer songwritery stuff and like country vibe to me. So,
Nice.
I don't know. Yeah, Forever Means by Angel Olsen. You should give it a listen sometime.
Will do.
Got anything else?
Well, the last one I was going to talk about was, I don't know if I recommend it, like I said. It's
Mm-hmm.
Dave Lombardo
Oh, yeah.
released his album. Have
Is
you
it out
already
now?
checked it out? Yeah,
No, yeah,
the
I'm all
Rites of
about that.
Percussion. It's a drum solo album.
Yeah.
I picked through, I jumped through a few songs. I was like, this
Yeah.
sounds like where I just was in that last song. But
Yeah.
I'm sure listen to it all the way through. It's kind of like soundtracky, pretty cool.
No, yeah,
So,
it's just totally Dave Lombardo on drums.
yep.
Like, I think it was Mike Patton, actually. It came out on Epicac Records, which is Mike Patton's
Oh,
label.
yep. It did. Yeah.
And yeah, like somebody, if it wasn't Mike, it was somebody in their kind of circle that was like,
Mm-hmm.
you just need to do a full on drum album. Like, keep starting and stopping these bands with other people and just do a full on drum album. He actually recently did a record with his wife, which is
Oh.
a whole other thing, but like this is, yeah, it's just
Hmm.
like go off and put weird different effects on your drums and just make a whole record. So I didn't realize that came out yet. I've actually been looking forward to that. Something tells
Yeah.
me that's going on a walk or a run or like, yeah, cleaning the house. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
kind of jungle mode. Like only light the house with candles and you're just like cleaning the house, smoke, taking rips off of a bong.
Yeah, that'd probably make it interesting.
Yeah. I think, yeah, at the end of the day, it's a full on drum album, so yeah, it's not a
Mm-hmm.
lot to latch onto as far as like song to song. Like, that's a catchy little number I have in my head.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, totally set a tone or a vibe.
indeed, it'll definitely do that.
Cool. I'm glad you mentioned that one. Um, Also another Epicac recording or release, I guess maybe it's a better way to put it. Is the band Spotlights? Did I send that to you? Did you give it a listen?
I don't
I did send it to you.
remember.
I don't know if you listened to
Oh,
it yet.
I don't know. I don't didn't have a chance to listen to it.
That is another Epicac release.
Oh yeah,
My
there it
buddy
is.
Devin actually sent it to me, and that was what I was spinning a lot this week.
Oh, nice.
I kept coming back to that album. It's definitely like real distorted rock and roll, like hit the chord and let it really ring out because it's like, wall of sound
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
gotcha.
But it has, like, people will say they sound like Deftones, maybe Smashing Pumpkins a little bit. But the thing that really stuck out to me is there's a lot of Depeche Mode influence all over this thing. And it's like really cool to hear it through like a heavy rock filter. So they just got certain ways they strum the guitar and like the chord choice, the distortion. I'm like, oh, yep, that's Depeche Mode. There's little melody lines in the background. Like, yep, that's kind of Depeche Mode. But they
Hmm.
got nice voices. It's all dark, gothy kind of 90s rock, like alternative rock, alternative metal. And I've been hearing it around a lot lately. A lot of like the DJs up at colleges and the local scene here in Fort Collins is like a lot of 90s love is coming back.
Yeah.
As we all know, it's a pendulum. It goes back and forth, but if you think about it, 2010s it was pretty 80s centric, like kind of revisiting stuff like that and like reworking it and re-releasing it, and it seems like it's starting to be the 90s. So it's like, what is it? Guess like 30 years. Seems like
Uh,
humans kind of do that. Back when Back to the Future came out, it's totally 80s, but they're all like really reflecting on the 50s. And there's a ton of 80s movies that have that, like, let's go back to the 50s and pick up the pieces and like. And then, I mean, yeah, it's almost 10 years old. Stranger Things comes out. It's all reflecting on the 80s. And Jonah Hill did that one movie a little early, maybe, but the mid 90s. And yeah, I guarantee you over the next few years, it's going to be a lot of 90s nostalgia and like reworking that. And I'm all for it. I'm
yeah.
interested to see what people do with it because I think there's a lot of failures in the 90s music. Like, what I loved about it was it would blend so many genres.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
but then sometimes I think we've talked about this before where it's like, say you're doing a rap rock album, you're like, okay, like make sure the rock's extra rock and the rap's extra rappy. And you're like, no, no, no. It's like try to blend it, like rap about rock uh subjects or vice versa, like I don't know.
Hmm.
Or like actually have some groove with the guitar playing you're doing, like I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, especially how it blends with like just the electronic elements that are just going to be inherent in music. I think going forward,
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
I don't know. It maybe I'll eat my words on that one. Maybe there'll be a big shift again, and everybody's like, "No, has to be just guitar, bass, and drums. That's it." And it has to be recorded with our old tape recorder. Otherwise, it sounds like shit. Like I don't think it'll ever
Uh,
swing back that hard, but who
no,
knows?
I think we're well past the tape recorder, at least. It might go, maybe a anti-synth thing will happen, though.
but tell me, like,
I'll see.
I'll tell you one thing though. You can picture it. You can picture the bands fighting that sound almost exactly the same. It's like,
Hmm.
yeah, but they recorded theirs through an old iPhone. They didn't record it with a tape recorder. They fucking suck. They're not Splunk. We're more Splunk than they are.
Uh,
But I actually had that idea too, and nobody better steal this. But they probably will if they like the idea. That's fine. I was wondering if there's ever been a sci-fi movie that's purely scored like by just an acoustic guitar.
huh.
Like so much of a sci-fi film is the futuristic little like, and I would wonder
Yeah.
what like just a nice little like hitting the road like folksy little acoustic guitar thing in a
What you could
sci-fi
do.
film would be like. Like, does it work? And is it interesting, or is it like, damn it, I wish there was like dramatic cinematic when the spaceship shows up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of like playing with expectations with music in movies. And that's one of them. Be
That
interesting
would
to
be
see.
interesting. Indeed.
You said you had one album you wanted to talk about.
Well, that was the Dave Lombardo one.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I just was saying, I don't know if I'm going to recommend it because I feel like a large percentage of the population would not be into that. But
Yeah.
if you're into it, you're into it. If you like drumming, if you like Dave Lombardo, you'll like it.
Well, that's a really good segue there, sir. Because speaking about a large percentage of the population not really being into it, let's get into jazz.
Joe Lovato.
Um, it's this has kind of been an ongoing discussion lately, and
Hmm.
kind of been wrapping my head around a little more jazz stuff and like trying to separate out different styles and approaches and get to know some names a little bit. Um, which leads me to two albums. I didn't get to the ones you recommended, although I know I had heard one before and I liked it. I
Hmm.
think it was the guitar player. What's his name again?
Johnny Smith.
Yeah, yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
I always like that. So, um, I suppose let's get into the Lavanos trio. And I did want to read the AP News article about it because I wanted to see how hard I could make your eyes roll.
Hmm.
Um, so I'll just read into this. You can have me stop, or I'll stop in little spots. But the latest album from saxophonist Joe Lovano's Trio Tapestry has almost no pulse, but plenty of heart and soul. Our Daily Bread release Friday is post-free jazz in a chamber setting and absorbing despite the lack of a bass or beat. So I'm gonna stop right there. Have you listened to it at all?
Yep. I listened a little bit.
So there are drums.
Yeah, there is a drum, but he doesn't ever. They're
Yeah,
never like all grooving
there's
at the
never a
same
beat.
time. Yeah.
Is there any bass on it? I don't feel like there is. There is.
No, it's just drum, piano, and sax.
Yeah. And before we continue and kind of like pick apart maybe a little bit of this phrasing or genrefying, did you like the record?
Not my stuff.
I listened to it today when I was on half of my daily walk, and there are times where yeah, I want to roll my eyes and I'm just like, ugh, it's
Yeah.
just such a jazzy thing to do. And it was like when he does it, and like, okay, let me clarify that I'm still a layman when it comes to jazz a lot. Like I think maybe a lot of listeners are, and I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are. Like there's something about the way jazz is presented to people that there is a wall. Like it is very gatekeepy. where
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, and it's pretentious. So you're like, it's really easy to
Mhm.
just be like, fuck jazz then. I don't want to listen. But I think that that's not fair because jazz is such an interesting and cool concept and idea and art form. And it's just, I know I've heard versions of it where I'm like, I really like that. And like, oh, that's
Mhm.
jazz. And so it's like, I'm trying to like sort of like work my way into it. And I do think one of the biggest issues is how it's presented, which is part of this article. But to get back to listening to the album, the parts that annoyed me were the parts that were disharmonious, and it felt like
Yeah.
the cliche. Oh, it's about the notes he's not playing. Like
Yeah.
he's just trying to find the most like, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, ugh, this is so annoying. And then, but then there would be moments with little flourishes and the space in between and playing with silence that I did kind of like.
Mhm.
And there were parts like I think it was just the on he's on the trumpet, like kind of more solo-y moments with the trumpet. I liked, but I think that had to do with like just that reminded me of that old seedy street jazz I kind of picture in my head, like the detective, like I wonder what's going on down this street kind of thing with the trumpet.
Yeah.
And when they came together into actually some sort of melody line, I liked it. But yeah, it. And one other thing I was gonna point out is when I tried Chick Corea. I remember I talked to you about it, and I was shaving my head listening to it, and I like cut my head for the first time in years. I was like, God damn it! Like, and so then it just added to the, and I was like, fuck. And then I'm like walking, listening to this today, and my ankle hurts. And it's just like every time I'm stepping on that foot, it's just, and I'm just like, fuck. Like, I wonder if it's literally like my body reacting to jazz, just like, God damn it. Like, but I'm like, I know that's not true. Like, it was weird. Foot hurt all the way till I got to the store. Got a couple of things I needed for dinner tonight. Ankle's fine. Walking out, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Just getting old. But
No.
yeah, this album, he's like, so let's get right back into that where they say it's post free jazz in a chamber setting. What the fuck are they talking about?
I don't even know with that. Pose like free jazz. Like there isn't any post free jazz. Anything that's free jazz is just free jazz. I don't think there's
Free
any kind
jazz
of
is post jazz.
Yeah, exactly. I would say
And I
that.
don't know how the fuck you go
So you
beyond
can't
that.
post again, and I don't know, like,
This is like post squared, man. It's like, no, it isn't.
and the chamber setting doesn't make any sense to me because
Yeah.
chamber music,
What
like
is chamber supposed to be?
chamber music is supposed to be like more like classical. It kind of could mean that, but like they're they're not just like hitting a tempo and going. They're kind of like following somebody, I guess. Like maybe they're following Joe Lovano. He's like conducting, even
Mm,
if it's just like by like moving his sax and conducting. Maybe he's doing something like that.
yeah.
But I think it just means like there's no hard beat. There's no hard 1, 2, 3, 4, go.
So essentially, this article is saying this album is post jazz in a classical setting where Joe is leading everybody on with his trumpet or whatever
Yeah.
he's playing, saxophone maybe. Yeah, which sounds
Yeah.
like a lot more pretentious.
Hmm.
You have to put it in these phrasings where it's like, ooh, and I'll admit it, like, hmm, post free jazz. I wonder what Kellen's gonna think about that. Chamber setting, I don't know exactly what that is.
And it's nothing.
Look elsewhere for swing, torrents of notes, or chord changes There is momentum to the music. However, as the trio pushes jazz forward, using silence as an instrument to build space between the players and what they play, the result is a set of tunes that float, undulating and unhurried, creating a mood of reflection but also liberation. What do you think of
Well,
that?
I'd like to go elsewhere for chord changes.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I will gladly.
Like,
Thank you.
okay.
Show me the sign.
Yeah, like, holy shit, turn back, turn back. Um, but I do, I see a little bit of what they're saying with, like, playing with the silence, which I do like.
Yeah,
Um,
I think you don't have to be all weird to do that though, and
no.
this will lead right into a
Ho-
in memoriam
one
if
sec,
you
one sec, one sec.
want, but yeah,
One thing about that silence thing is that I think that is what bugged me the most about Chick Corea.
no
It's just
silence.
no, it's just fucking going. And then I was listening as I was painting today. I was listening to Bill Burr on the Dana Carvey and David Spade podcast, whatever that one's called.
Hmm.
And he used he described something in a way where I know we've talked about this before, but the way he put it was interesting. Is like if you're listening to music, the musician should be trying to like talk to you,
Hmm.
and like so it's like, hey, this is the way he put it. He's talking about a drummer, but he's like, hey, you're talking to me, man. It's like, don't be yelling at me like a auctioneer. So he's like talking about guys that are too busy on the drums, and he just like is like, dude, that's enough. Like I know that takes a lot of fucking talent, but I don't go turn on an auctioneer and just like, yeah, man, look at how fast he's talking. And it's just like, I want a story, I want an emotion. You know, like you're talking to me, dude. Like, chill out. It was like I really like that because it's like that is what it is. Like Chick Corea, I just feel like it is. It's like an auctioneer yelling at me, and I'm just
Yep.
like, Jesus Christ, man, like, ugh, like. But this, I mean, yeah, with the moments of silence, that did pop right into my brain, and that this is before I heard that today. It was just like those little breaks of silence and like let a note hang really means a lot to me in jazz music especially.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was interesting to me. I was like, okay, that's one thing about jazz I like, and then when it's ignored, kind of annoys me.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, you said it led right into something.
Well, we have a few in memoriams, and
Not quite yet. Not quite yet on the memoriams, unless it's very specific to that.
yeah, it
Okay.
is. But you can do your thing. We could come back to it.
Well, there's just one other jazz album. I was on Instagram and Flea's Instagram, and he put up this video that's very serious, and he's like says something, and like I had it muted. I was like, oh damn, it sounds like super fucking serious, and I like hit the volume, turn it up, and he goes, Sonny Rollins' East Broadway Rundown is the best fucking album ever.
Whoa.
And I was like, huh, that's quite the claim. So I was like, immediately like, Sonny Rollins, East Broadway Rundown, let's go. So when I was cooking up those Hawaiian sweet roll meatball sliders, I was
Yeah.
listening to Sonny Rollins' East Broadway Rundown, and I gotta say, it's a really good fucking record,
Nice.
and I liked it a lot. And I had the windows open so the streets could hear Sonny Rollins coming out. They could smell
Yeah.
the meatball sliders. Like I was in a zone with it.
Yeah.
And so I was curious how much you know about Sonny Rollins and the album East Broadway Rundown, and why
I
you think I
know.
might like it.
Well, I mean, I listened to a little bit of it. It was good. He is a good sax player. He's one of the top, one of the masters of the saxophone.
Mm.
Um, the main story I know about him is he he was like, I don't like how I sound, so he just like told everybody he was like gonna take a year off. And he lived in New York, and he would just go out to this bridge and practice for like hours every day. And
Hmm.
then he came back and recorded an album called The Bridge with some pretty insane sax playing. So
Huh.
he's just, yeah, one of the best sax players ever. Put together a great band, I'm sure, for that record. It's good
Hmm.
stuff.
I wonder if that's a Simpsons reference. You remember Bleeding Gums Murphy?
On the bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
God damn. How about that? The Bridge is an album to you recommend highly then of him, eh?
Well, it's a very,
Well,
you know,
seminal moment, I guess.
for him, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for Sonny Rollins. So yeah,
Um. Yeah. What do you think it is about the jazz in this that's like that? I'm like, yeah, like fuck yeah,
I don't.
and then these
I
other ones, I'm
was.
like, eh.
I don't. Well, the Chicoria one's definitely very busy. This one is not busy. This one
Yeah,
moves along at parts, but
it
it does
does.
also slow back down. It's all over. Kind of, it does all the things. So
I think that's maybe what it is. Is it had more character to
yeah,
different parts. Like
uh
it would
huh,
be a vibe for a second, but then it would work its way into like a different vibe.
yeah,
And yeah, the Chicoria one just fucking goes.
yeah,
And I was just like, Jesus Christ. And it's I don't know. Maybe it is. It's like I don't know if there's like a little more swing to this Sonny Rollins record. I don't
yeah.
know. Like a
Chicory is
beat
probably a
thing.
little
I don't
more.
know.
Yeah, that's just I think the player and the leader and all that stuff.
All
So
right. When we're getting closer to finding out what I'm into,
yeah,
I think part of that is, yeah, it must be. It has to do with bass and drums. That's almost always where I go to first.
yeah.
But I do like saxophone, and I like it more than some other instruments a lot more. And I don't know.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah. So there
Well,
is our in memoriam section that's pretty full this week. Just musicians we
unfortunately.
gotta talk about, and they're ones that you know a lot more about than me. So I'll let you take this one.
Well, the first one, going off the space and jazz thing,
Mm-hmm.
is Ahmad Jamal, who
Okay.
that's like kind of what he was known for. Was like really tasty, very reserved, and he liked to kind of um like I'm trying to he he was like so good at taking like a phrase and messing with it and
Yeah.
playing with it, and that's more like through the use of space and changes of rhythm and tempo. He had just like he would play these really slow ones and then suddenly be going like super fast, but never like it's always just perfect.
So
Yeah,
let me ask. So a phrase might be like da 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 da,
yeah,
and then you just take that and like da 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 da. Like
yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
All right, cool.
So, so here's somebody said about him. Ahmad Jamal is one of the great Zen masters of jazz piano. He plays just what is needed and nothing more. Every phrase is perfect. So,
Hmm.
one of the albums that gets mentioned early on in his career is called At the Pershing, but Not For Me, and it's the Ahmad Jamal Trio. And I think it is exactly what you like. It's guitar, I mean, not guitar, sorry, bass, drums, piano, and
Mm-hmm.
tasty. I think you should listen to that one and see, because I think you might find Ahmad Jamal as your guy. That might be your dude.
Say the title one more time.
At the Pershing, but Not For Me, which is like a song that they played at this concert. But
At the Pershing, but not for me.
yeah,
I'm gonna
Ahmad
look.
Jamal Trio is what it comes up under online. So
All right, I'll
yeah, he
try
played
that.
all over, played with everybody, a lot of people. really dug his playing. He released a song, one a couple of years ago called Saturday Morning. And oh man, one of the funkiest bass lines ever written. And it's like a 13-minute jam the Saturday morning. Just so tasty. Never gets old. For the whole 13 minutes, you're just like grooving to this nice beat. And it does feel like a Saturday morning. That's a nice name for it. So,
So Saturday morning, much
yeah.
more.
So At the Pershing was 1958. Saturday Morning was 2013. So you can hear a good range of his time playing. One of his early albums and one of his latest albums.
Oh yeah. Some of that description does seem to be lining up with kind of the things I've been saying I like about jazz.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yeah, just be tasteful with it.
Yeah.
Spacing. He does have one record, 1955, called Chamber Music of the New Jazz. That's almost like post jazz in a chamber setting.
Yeah, we'll have to. I bet he does it right.
I
Whatever it
bet you
is.
probably
Sure, he does it
does.
good.
And I mean, no disrespect to Joe Lovano, great player, but I just give a lot of shit to this critic.
Yeah,
I just
well,
like,
bet Joe would too.
yeah. He's like, God damn it. And I
Hoity
mean, shit,
toity.
dude. A lot of these rock bands, you go read their Spotify bios, you're like, oof. I sure
Yeah,
hope you didn't write that, because that is
yeah,
annoying.
indeed.
Anyway, who else we got? I'm running a little bit out of time.
Yeah, just quick last two. Harry Belafonte,
Mm-hmm.
who was had some his biggest hit, the ones I
Dale!
know. Yep,
He said
that's one.
Dale!
And the okay, I believe you.
Yeah.
That
Isn't that the
song,
same
I
one?
like that one. No,
No,
it's
it
a
isn't.
different one. I think
Fucking A.
that's a different one. Come on, everybody, rock your body in
I'm
time.
on.
That one.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then the Jamaican Farewell, which is really nice too. Oh, I'm sad to say I'm on my way. That little tune.
Yeah.
That's a nice one.
Um, organized the We Are the World thing, apparently.
Oh, yep.
Did a lot of really great philanthropy and charity work.
There's one of the few people that's won a Grammy, an Emmy, and a Tony.
Yeah.
Pretty legendary.
One of those EGOTs, or should I say?
Uh,
They also look up the details, and I'm repeating this from another podcast that was doing a tribute to him, but he apparently like paid for the housing of like Martin Luther King, a couple others while they were doing their thing.
yeah,
And I was just like, okay, goddamn. So yeah, it was just a lot of really impressive stuff he did. Like
yeah, for sure.
as an artist who didn't shut up and just keep playing. He like did a lot with his position as an artist, which was very admirable.
Yep, did a lot.
And we got one more, right?
Yeah, the last one is Gordon Lightfoot,
Okay.
Canadian songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote some great tunes. My personal favorite, I'm an Edmund Fitzgerald man.
Yeah.
That song was on the book of bad songs. Did make the list.
Say it one more
Somebody
time.
there, Dave Barry did a bad song survey back in the day, and this song did make it into the book. Somebody really hated the line, "As the big freighters go, she was bigger than most." And they're like, that song fucking sucks, but I think it's a great song.
I missed the title though. What was the title?
The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Okay.
And then also he wrote like Sundown and Carefree Highway, which are also just awesome songs.
I listened to Gord's Gold, which I think is an early greatest hits compilation.
Nice.
When I was walking around, and Canadian Railroad trilogy. I think that one stuck out. Um,
There you go.
it's got to be his voice, right? That some people get weird with. So, ooh, he's always
Uh, you
flattering.
you might have gone too early. He doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't sound like him at all to me.
That's funny.
But
Maybe stop doing that.
yeah, yeah, that's probably too early. I looked at that album and I didn't recognize any of the songs. So
Okay. Well, he's doing, and that's kind of what I was gonna get into. Is just he is very flattering on the winter day. It's just like that hippie folk song kind of approach to singing,
yeah,
and apparently, uh, goddamn, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this guy's name. The huge folk act that everybody liked, the Dylan, yeah, Bob Dylan.
yeah,
Had Bob Dylan like loved Gordon Lightfoot apparently, and it was like,
yeah.
oh, it's like that voice thing. And I was just like, okay, all right. But like as I was listening to Gordon Lightfoot, I was like, there's a lot in here that is not my taste, but he puts it together very well. And
Yep.
there's like moments of bluegrass stuff, but he's like Canadian. So
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, like, what is the distinct difference between, I don't know, like folk music
Well,
and bluegrass?
I don't know. Bluegrass really has the really driving rhythm with the mandolin and the picking banjo and the really high vocals. I would say that's like traditional bluegrass, where folk can have all those things but doesn't have to have all of them.
Hmm.
So bluegrass songs could be folk songs, but not all folk songs are bluegrass songs
Okay, that's actually a
in a
good way of
way.
putting it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's like you could have hardcore rap, but all hardcore rap is rap, but not all rap is hardcore. Kind of
Exactly.
something like that. All right. No, yeah, because there's like moments that would dip into something that sounded really bluegrassy, and I think I've even heard my buddies in Woodbelly cover one of their songs, at least they listened to it. And my apologize if any of them are listening to this and they're like, we fucking can't stand Gordon, like whatever.
Uh,
Can't
oh no,
remember all
they
the.
love him.
Yeah, I thought so. Like,
Tony Rice did a whole album of Gordon Lightfoot. So
okay, no, yeah, there's one I can't. I think it is on this Gord's Gold, so it is a little bit older. Maybe they'll tell me if they actually ever listen to the show. But
there you go.
yeah, pretty good stuff. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd throw it on much on my end, but you feel like you listen to a lot more of his older stuff,
Well, I guess
or
his
not
newer
older,
stuff.
his newer stuff. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. I don't listen. He's just a guy I hear on the radio a lot, and over the years, so
Yeah.
I've liked all his tunes that they play on the radio.
So I meant to say
So
his newer stuff as he got older.
yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Did
Rip
he
in peace.
do really cool things like Harry Belafonte?
I don't know if he did quite as much,
He
but
just zoned in on music.
yeah,
I
he
think
pretty
I
much
heard that he went out to
stuck with that.
California for a bit and then ended up going back to Toronto.
Yep.
So did that little like, yeah, I'll try out Hollywood for a minute and then I'm out.
Yep.
Well, all right.
Up in Canada.
We have gotten a good chunk of time though, and I'll let you get out of here. Just had to do all those memoriams, and we had a lot of ground to cover this time.
Indeed.
So rest in peace to all those,
Well,
and yeah, we'll
enjoy the
continue.
other new music.
Yeah, we'll continue to find the perfect Jacob Wayne jazz.
Indeed.
But
I think
maybe
we're on
it's
a
with
good
on
start
lead.
now.
All right, well, I will catch you next time, buddy.
Yeah. Y'all have a good one later.
Ta ta! Welcome back, Dan. How you doing this week?
I'm doing great.
Good, good. Anything of note in the news of the world you wanted to bring up before we dive into our movie reviews?
Yeah, it's all bad news. Nothing of note.
Yeah. I will say that the
Just,
day we're recording, this is the day that CNN had Donald Trump with the town hall meeting.
oh yeah.
And that's one of
That,
those funny things, like, where it's like, I agree with Donald Trump that CNN is kind of fake news because they're full of shit because they support the piece of shit that's Trump for
give them a
news.
platform.
Yeah, like that was definitely the thing that drove me nuts during the 2016 election was everybody was giving him airtime and like he was even on Saturday Night Live. Fucking
Yep.
Jimmy Fallon ruffled his hair.
Yep.
And it's just like, yeah, you're fuck mainstream media, but not the way he's saying it. I'm saying it for totally different reasons. And it's just funny, like, you all you libcucks just go watch your CNN, and you're like, I don't think you understand what us libcucks do to get news. But whatever. This is a movie section. This isn't politics.
On to the silly
But
bullshit.
yeah, fuck CNN. That's all I'm trying to say.
Agreed.
Yeah. So we're doing another one of our going through my letterbox diary and reviewing the movies that are not part of our Stephen King list or ongoing list that we're working on. There's actually one we'll get to and mention, but let's sort of announce a new list we're gonna do. But with that, let's get to our first film, which is Max Magician and the Legend of the Rings from 2002.
Oh,
A
so
magical
good.
tale about young Max, a shy, bullied boy. His life is forever changed when he receives an ancient magical book that opens a mystical door into an enchanted kingdom where an adventure filled with warriors, elves, queens, and sorcerers awaits. What did you think of Max Magician and the Legend of the Rings?
Well, first of all, let's go over the highlights, the good points.
Sure.
The makeup, pretty serviceable, not bad.
Uh huh.
They had decent makeup work. Pretty much everything else was awful.
I'm gonna say whoever played the main bad guy has some pretty decent makeup on, and he he's awesome because he hilariously chews the scenery.
Oh yeah, he was going after it.
I think he's the thing that made me really enjoy it. Like I did enjoy watching it quite a bit. I
Oh
have
yeah,
it at 1.5 stars, but I liked it.
yeah. I was entertained the whole time. There's no doubt about that. But there's no doubt it's also a terrible movie.
Yeah. I actually have some sound bites from the film. And this is the. Do you have the name of the main bad guy?
Hmm. Let's see. Lord Daga,
Okay.
Daga,
This is Lord
Dagda.
Daga or Dagda or something like that. These are some of his lines.
You're lying to me again, worm. Why do you interrupt me on this beautiful autumn afternoon? I found you.
Yeah. So I think even just from those little sound clips, you can hear him chewing the scenery. He's way over the top, very like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Cartoonishly evil.
Well, he's cartoonishly evil, but he's also like almost like a Southern belle, like yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes.
like yeah,
Trying
that
to be
kind of
very
humor.
regal with it. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
oh,
Here's another
yeah,
line from the movie.
Easy. You took quite a blow.
Yeah. So, needless to say, we pulled a lot of lines out of it. I don't think they're gonna survive on the soundboard for too long. But, yeah, I think Max Magician and the Legend of the Rings. Obviously, a mashup of Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, like to get you to get the DVD for your kid or something. I would say it's one of those perfect movies to throw on, have some beers with your friends, and just cackle at it.
Yeah,
it's entertaining.
It's kind of like in the same vein as like Troll 2.
Yeah,
Just really silly, stupid, fantastical story made for kids.
mm-hmm. Watched
but
by
it's entertaining
adults
nonetheless.
who are almost in their 40s.
Yep, pretty much.
Just like
pretty much.
With that, though, we're gonna move on to, in my opinion, a classic that I'm really bummed they didn't continue to do more films, and that is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Read the plot real quick for those that don't know. This version came out in 2005. Has the tagline, "Don't leave Earth without it." Probably talking about his towel. Mere seconds before the Earth is to be demolished by an alien construction crew, Arthur Dent is swept off the planet by his friend Ford Perfect, a researcher penning a new edition of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. For those that don't know, this was a huge novel by the writers from the UK, right? It's got to be.
Yeah.
Very
Douglas Adams.
Very British humor. It's a classic. If you've never heard of it, I highly recommend going and just getting the book and reading that. That's amazing.
It's great. It's one of my favorites for comedy writing.
Mm-hmm. There's a BBC kind of like miniseries adaptation of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I think they even did some of his other books that are related to the same universe, like The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. I feel like there's some other titles that I can't recall off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But, that's this version, though, 2005. I loved it, and we're going to get into some of the reasons why, but it did not do as well as they had hoped. I wouldn't call it a box office bomb, but it definitely didn't bring in the business that I guess they wanted.
Yeah, it wasn't a runaway success that they thought it would be.
I think there might have been a little bit of pushback from conservative America on it.
Yeah.
After rewatching it, it was definitely like being a little bit intellectual and making a mockery of then President George Bush. Sam Rockwell has said in an interview that part of that character he based off of George Bush Jr. There's this through line of like, if I put myself as like Larry the Cable Guy type, and I watched this movie, I would think this movie was talking down to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I feel like maybe middle America, they watch this, and some of the things it says about God, it's like, or the creation of the universe is a giant mistake, like little things like that. I think just America's not as comfortable with. And it's a bummer, because I love this movie. It's a 5 out of 5 stars for me. Of course, I like it. Is that a 5 out of 5 for you?
4.55. Yeah, it's pretty darn solid. It's up there. I don't know if I would give it a straight perfect score or anything, but we pretty much agree.
Yeah, you definitely are not as generous with the stars as me.
Yeah.
Let's break down some of the reasons why it's so good. The cast is amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got Martin Freeman, Sam Rockwell, John Malkovich, Mos Def, Zooey Deschanel, Stephen Fry's the narrator, like big, great actors.
For those that don't know Mos Def, it's now Yasin Bey.
Yeah.
John Malkovich, did you already say that one?
Yeah, John Malkovich.
Yeah. Oh, like Bill Nye. All the kind of classic go-to UK actors. And then a couple good American ones. And Yeah, I think my favorite. I mean, there's a lot of like ones I really love, but it would have to be Alan Rickman's Robot.
Yeah,
Um,
he does a great job
yeah, it's like,
being just the voice, but I mean, he nailed it.
yeah, he just rest in peace to Alan Rickman. It's like probably one of my favorite little roles of his, and he's just the voice.
Yep.
But I mean, we've talked about this. I don't think I've ever talked about it on the podcast, but one of the things I really love about this film is their blend of practical effects with CGI. So they have a lot of
Hmm.
puppets in the movie, but then they kind of. I remember watching a behind the scenes thing on it when it first came out, like it was probably on the DVD or something.
Hmm.
And they talk about how they had like this like CGI almost like glaze that they would put over the top of the puppet, like they'd map it out, and then
Hmm.
it allowed them to like kind of like give it like moisture and like like wet lips, like a little bit of snot
Hmm.
maybe coming out of the nostril kind of thing. So when you see these puppets, like to this day, it looks incredible and
Hmm.
like very realistic, and like they feel very much alive. And for how cartoonishly proportioned they are, it like really is a wonderful kind of surreal element to it.
Yeah. I wish
Yeah,
more of, Hollywood movies had that kind of approach to practical effects and CGI. CGI shouldn't just be, the pure go-to thing. It should augment what's already there. And I
yeah,
feel like too many movies are just like, "Oh, well, we'll fix it in post."
yeah,
And they don't really have the effort during the filming stage. They don't even try to do it practically.
yeah. I think we probably mentioned it during our review of Andor or Mandalorian, but
Mhm.
that's I think been one really good thing about the Disney era of Star Wars is they have gone back to mixing that all up, like having puppetry and practical effects mixed in with the CGI. I
Mhm.
think a lot of people kind of forget because now all the kids that grew up with the prequels love those and don't like the Disney
Yeah.
movies, and then there's all the old heads that only still like the original trilogy. But yeah, the sequel trilogy is not great. There's a lot of issues with it, but one thing when Disney said, "Hey, we're doing episode 7," and they like when you first saw The Force Awakens and then like all the practical effects, like
Mhm.
it was such a breath of fresh air at the time from the constant like blue screen, green screen of the prequels and like
Yeah.
acting with the floating tennis ball. So I do feel like Hollywood is slowly learning that lesson and integrating it more. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's like so many great artists like is it Phil Tippett's that did Mad God and Crazy Mad George, like just masters of creature effects and practical effects. And
Mhm.
I think it's important that we don't lose that. And that's why I wish they another reason I wish this series would have continued because they obviously would have done more of that.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's a little too late to go back now. I mean, with the
sure.
same cast and everything. I mean, some of them are dead, but
I'm sure they'd
it's
reboot it. Started a
it,
Hitchhiker's Guide again, which
yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm down with that. It's like you could try that again, but I think in a way that almost would like make it not do as well again because then like oh we're gonna sit through another one of these like and then it would be
Yeah.
compared to the BBC and this one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe do one of those. What do they call it? The reboot quel,
Yeah.
where they like restart it and it's sort of a sequel but kind of a
But not
restart.
really. Yeah. Mhm.
Um, I mean, shit. The story is awesome. It's funny. I think
Yeah.
it's
I
like
mean,
a
the
classic of like British literature, in my
yeah,
opinion.
it's great source material, so, as long as you stick relatively well to it, you can't really go that far off. So, yeah, it was pretty good.
I guess that's all I could say is like if you're not that into British humor,
Yeah,
then maybe you won't like
that's
it.
true.
That's all I could really say because it is
Yeah.
very British. Um, I was taking a quick look at Gareth Jennings, the director.
Yeah.
Um, he hasn't really done a lot.
Yeah. Surprisingly, I'm looking at him right now here too.
Like he's done the Sing, a CGI movie, and this one movie called Son of Rambo, and then like a Radiohead concert film. It looks like something like that. So interesting. I think he did a really good job.
Oh, he's got a Fatboy Slim music
Ah,
video there
does it say
too.
which one?
Right here, right now.
Right here, right now. I might have to look that up real quick.
Oh, he's got two Fatboy Slim.
What's the other one?
Demons.
Wow. Huh.
2099.
Fatboy Slim's the one that had Christopher Walken dancing, right?
I don't know. I don't recall that one.
Oh, you don't remember that video? That was all over
No.
like MTV and the music channels. Man. I got distracted with that stuff.
You got a Blur music video too.
Oh, Blur one? Which one of that did he do?
Coffee and TV.
I remember that one with like the little dancing milk carton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Fatboy Slim, Weapon of Choice. That's the one with Christopher Walken dancing. You really don't remember that?
I don't know. I'll definitely look it up though.
We're gonna watch it when we're done recording. Like it's a fucking classic. But you know, we're here to talk about movies, not Fatboy Slim. How many times are you gonna say that sentence in your life? So what's after Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? I think we've pretty much covered that. It's awesome.
Yeah. Vacation Friends.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, I will read the
With John Cena.
You can't even see him in it. The tagline is "They came home with some extra baggage." Vacation Friends came out in 2021. When a straight-laced couple that has fun with a rowdy couple on vacation in Mexico return to the States, they discover the crazy couple they met in Mexico followed them back home and decide to play tricks on them. That is not a good summation.
It isn't.
That is not the plot.
That isn't the plot at all.
Like, because you hear play
That's
the
misleading.
tricks, and you're like, that's not... They're joking around. Like, but that's just rolled into their personality.
Yeah.
That's like not...
It's not like
the direction
they're
of the
pulling
film.
pranks, you know. They're like it's
Like,
I
they're
don't know.
constantly, like, teasing them, like, with being overly serious about, like, something fucked up.
Yeah.
But it's just part of their character. Like, it's not the plot. The plot is they end up hanging out on vacation and becoming friends. But the one family is that Lil Rel Howery and Yvonne Orji. Orji. Sorry if I mispronounced those. They're like kind of like buttoned down, serious couple. So when they get off from the vacation, it time jumps to their wedding, like wedding reception, right? Or engagement.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember.
No, I think it's
It is the wedding.
Yeah, it's the wedding, I think.
Yeah, and then these friends, John Cena and Meredith Hagner, I imagine, they track him down like, hey, why didn't you invite us to the wedding? I thought we were like best friends after that. And that it's sort of like Meet the Parents mixed with Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Because there's definitely the racial component. It's like weird ass white couple hanging out with the black couple. And so they're walking around during the wedding, like, oh boy, I hope they're gonna be cool. Like, but anyway, so yeah, they did not sum up the plot of this film very well. You know the
No, they
plot of
didn't.
this film, though. You've seen it hundreds of times.
Oh yeah, it's the same movie that's been done in Hollywood for the past 20 years.
Yeah. And I'm not going to call out our buddy who suggested it or like say the name, but we watched this on a Thursday, which is usually our so bad it's good nights. It's where we watch stuff like Max Magician. And so he's like, "Oh, that one looked kind of like dumb, but it would be funny." And so I'm like, "Okay, let's try that. It'll be like one of those silly Disney Channel movies or this." And then it's like, "Oh, it's a new modern comedy." Fuck. Yeah. Like I can't remember if we talked about it on the pod, but like Boys or Bad Boys or something.
Yeah.
Like
Good Boys is
Good
what
Boys.
It was.
Right.
Yeah.
I really have an issue with modern comedy. I don't know if it's sprung off of Judd Apatow, like his style of letting whoever, like celebrities and then some comedians, just riff and say whatever they want. And just like we're gonna film you, and you just like say 20 different sort of funny improvised things, and we edit it together like
Pick
that.
The best one in editing, yeah.
And yeah, it makes it so the characters aren't actual like real characters. They're just a human conduit for dick jokes and drug jokes and like I don't know. And I'm still a really big fan of like 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up and Funny People. I even liked This Is 40. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that had too much of an influence on comedies. But I mean, it comes from other directions too. There's a little bit of Wedding Crashers in this.
Yeah.
And I really liked Wedding Crashers when it came out, but I went and revisited that not too long ago, and it's like, this is a little dated. Just a little bit. I still like it, but yeah, I don't know. Comedy is like, it does not age well like other genres. Yeah. It's weird. We talked about this with Three Amigos. Like,
yeah, we did.
It's like, oof, that is not funny anymore. But
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
As far, I mean, I think this particular movie, Vacation Friends, as far as like that genre, if you have that, in mind going in, it is probably one of the better ones, but it's still definitely firmly planted in, that tropey
modern comedy.
Yeah, modern comedy. Yeah, it's exactly what you expect.
Well, and I mean, I was being long-winded, but I was getting around to the fact that, yeah, it is actually surprisingly likable considering all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, probably the funniest line in the movie is like, that bird's about to shit. And it's like, me saying that right now, you're like, joke. Really? That's the funniest line? And it's just like, it's the framing. It takes some effort to like set that up, and it's a recurring joke. And just, yeah, the weird, they're all tripped out on drugs, and you just see John Cena butt-ass naked staring out the window. Our bird's about to shit. Like that's so fucking stupid. But you're laughing. And John, I will say, John Cena is kind of one note, but he's a lovable guy. And I think he's way more charming than The Rock.
Yeah.
Like, out of all these, like, I would say, this is a tiny tangent.
Yeah.
John Bautista?
John Bautista?
Yeah, that guy that's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, and he was in 2049, the new Blade Runner movie.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
He's good.
and he's like maybe the best wrestler
Dave
to
Bautista.
actor.
It's Dave Bautista.
Okay. But he's probably the best wrestler to actor, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
We got to go back a little bit. Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan.
Um,
I mean,
Andre is lovable
but he's just
and
doing Andre.
decent, but he's just he's just doing Andre, and
And
he's good. I like him. I would say that Dave Bautista's a better, artistic actor.
yeah. And I don't know, John Cena does manage to emit some sort of like actual emotional depth,
Yeah,
but it does still come through the John Cena filter. Like everything
yeah.
I've seen him in, whether it's that HBO show that I never finished. It was like the DC comic thing.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. I forget the title.
Man, I'm surprised I can't think of the title, but it'll maybe come to us. But
Yeah.
let's actually
Here, I'll look it
go
up
to his
really quick.
tab and see some of his movies. He was good in
Peacemaker.
Yeah. Peacemaker, the character from the Suicide Squad, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was funny in his brief role in Trainwreck, another Judd Apatow movie, but booked more as an Amy Schumer movie. Joke Thief. I don't know. I'm kind of scanning his other movies. A lot of this is stuff I will never watch. So I can't really speak for his whole filmography, but everything I've seen John Cena in, I think he's likable and sort of believable, but he is John Cena.
Yeah.
And I think the main guy in this, I think that's probably got to be Lil Rel.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine. Everybody else in it is fine. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I got on Vacation Friends.
I think my general overview is I enjoyed it while I was watching it. It was, a middle of the road comedy, exactly what you expect. I have no desire to see it again.
I'll tell you what, though. It is one of those movies where if you're sitting there watching it with somebody and they're laughing too hard at it, it'll make me hate it. I'm like, this is not that funny. Shut the fuck up. Like, I have some friends like that where they know I love comedy and I love movies but oh, you gotta see this, and then they make me sit through it. Like, what was that? So I liked Ted by Seth MacFarlane. I liked that a lot. Then his weird Wild West one.
I never saw that one.
Oof,
But
it's bad. I mean,
I
sure,
think I avoided it because of the reviews.
yeah. And I mean, it's so joke by the minute that of course there's a couple moments in there that are like, that's pretty funny. Sarah Silverman's in it. I love her. But like, ugh. It's really fucking cringy, and I was watching it with my buddy, and he's just dying, and I'm like, this is making me hate it even more. It's like, yeah, it's like 1,000 Ways to Die in the West, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right, but yeah, that's just a thing to mention, I guess. It's like, I think comedies might be the only types of movies like that where I'm like, no, that's not true. Because we're going to watch Whiplash with Kelin sometime, and people love the shit out of that movie. And I watched it once, and I was like, this fucking sucks. And part of it's because I'm a musician, and I'm like, I don't think... No, like, musicians don't act like this is wrong. And somebody once said to me, it's like, well, that's how he acts. It's not saying that that's how music is. It's just saying this is how this guy is. And I'm like... all right, I can kind of... maybe I need to rewatch it, but the love and praise it got, I was just like, it makes me hate it more. Because it is not that good.
I didn't hate it. I just thought, where is all this praise coming from? Like I don't see why people loved it the way they did. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, and I'll fully
I mean, I'm not.
admit, I should not let that affect my opinion of movies. It's just like, I didn't
Yeah,
really like it. Everybody loved it. Okay, and just move on. But
yeah,
I'd be lying if I said sometimes I on Letterboxd will like look at a movie like Whiplash and just go through the reviews, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'll kind of like rage read reviews.
yeah.
But
I'll
so the
do the
next,
same thing with. Oh, sorry.
no,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna say I do the same thing with movies I love. Is I look up all the reviews that they hated it, and I'm like, what are you talking about? This movie was great. I hate you.
No, yeah, definitely. Oh man, like the I've read so much content on people's opinions about the Star Wars sequel trilogies and like hated people that absolutely loved them, but then also hated the reviews of people that hated them. I'm like, I'm done with
Yeah,
Star Wars. I'm like, fuck all of you. Like, anyway.
yeah,
So this is kind of like just of note. We watched In the Mouth of Madness, which I'm not going to give a rating. That is a John Carpenter film, and quite regularly, at some point when it comes up, like you or me will be like, man, I love John Carpenter.
hmm
He directed Christine, which is on our Stephen King list.
hmm
A lot of other classics like The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, They Live. So we're going to do a John Carpenter list, just like our Stephen King list. Who knows when we'll be done with it, but we're going to save our review of In the Mouth of Madness for that. So be looking forward to a John Carpenter list in the future. With that, we already did Cats. That was our last
yeah,
episode. We did our watch
yep.
along review. Holy shit.
Truly
Um,
awful.
yeah. Then we got into Ben and Arthur for a Thursday night So Bad It's Good movie. Let's
Yep.
read the plot for that, or the tag. Love calms the soul, and so does revenge. This movie came out in 2002. A pair of recently married gay men are threatened by one of the partner's brothers, a religious fanatic who plots to murder them after being ostracized by his church. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that sums it up pretty good.
yeah. This was directed by Sam Mravich and
Directed
Sam
and written
directed,
and
written,
starred in.
starring Sam Mravich. He's Ben, and then Arthur is the much more attractive one,
Yep.
who's like the boy toy guy he got to be his fiance. I'm kind of curious right here. The only other thing, he has Steve's Hollywood Story from 2017.
Hmm.
Looks almost like a documentary, maybe about. I don't know. I would actually be down to watch more of his movies. There's this one, Vapid Shallow Models Must Die, 2006. But maybe that's he's just acting in it as an uncredited nosy neighbor. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the plot's the plot. We read that. It's all about how low budget, low effort this movie by Sam Malvich is.
The lowest budget
Yeah,
possible.
like reuse the same apartment for multiple locations. The I learned about this film from watching the Best of the Worst that Red Letter Media does, and they commented on how like there'll even be like the actor standing in their position, and the film will have like almost like a second or two of them just standing still, and then it's like and action. They'll start moving. The sound
Yeah.
mixing's atrocious. But
Hey,
it's go
they
ahead.
got somebody to let them film in a kitchen somewhere,
Yeah,
like an actual like restaurant kitchen. So they tried at least a little bit, not
but
just film
then
it solely in their apartment.
but then when it came to the church, they got inside a cardboard box and then had a 4-year-old draw a picture of Jesus, and they made a cardboard cross, and oh man, um,
Had a tissue paper stained glass window.
yeah, I gave this half a star, but I liked it. I was thoroughly entertained by it, but it might be one of the lowest budget, shittiest quality movies we've watched.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's bad. Like even Suburban Sasquatch had like, you're like, wow, he's a filmmaker compared to Ben and Arthur. And yeah, I mean, this is another one. We caught it up on YouTube, and get some beers with your buddies if they can handle the gay stuff. And it's a really good time. Like I had a blast watching it. I don't know if there's much else to say about that.
Yeah.
With that, we're gonna get on to our last movie, and then we're all caught up on the diary.
Yeah.
Maybe by next week. You think we're gonna be done with
We're
90s
pretty close.
Stephen
Yeah,
King?
we're pretty close. Pretty close to the end of the 90s. I think we
Okay.
got like 4 left or something, maybe. Mm.
Yeah, but we've been in the slog of Stephen King 90s miniseries. They
Yeah.
really stretch out. Um, yeah, well, I guess we'll see. If not, I'll have a subject ready or something like that. But let's get into the last movie on the diary. This
The
one, we've been going
core.
through some YouTube movies that are just popping up for free with our buddy Neil, and we decided to watch The Core from 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Earth has a deadline. Geophysicist Dr. Josh Keyes discovers that an unknown force has caused the Earth's inner core to stop rotating. With the planet's magnetic field rapidly deteriorating, our atmosphere literally starts to come apart at the seams with catastrophic consequences. To resolve the crisis, Keyes, along with a team of the world's most gifted scientists, travel into the Earth's core. Their mission? Detonate a device that will reactivate the core. Obviously, that's insane, fucking silly and stupid. Like, you couldn't do that. But the funniest part that I think made the movie kind of just work is they're talking to one science character, and they're like, you can't get to the core of the Earth. That's ridiculous. You can't do that. And he kind of turns, leans in. But what if you could? And that's essentially the writing room for this movie. It's like, that's preposterous. That wouldn't happen. But what if it could happen? And that's how they get from point A to point B to point C in this film. It's a disaster
Mm-hmm.
movie in the vein of like 2012 or The Day After Tomorrow. It's a little bit of, yeah, it's like a disaster film mixed in with Armageddon. I guess Armageddon's
Yeah.
a disaster film too, but it's got, yeah, like the lovable team that's gonna solve it with science.
Yep.
And yeah, I found myself thinking that the cast in this must have been having a really good time. I
Probably.
think they all like really chewing the scenery, really overdoing it, like getting real hammy with it. Has
Yeah. They
Aaron?
seemed to know what kind of movie they were in, you
Oh
know.
yeah,
Like everybody knew the score of what this movie was.
Aaron Eckhart, Hilary Swank, Delroy Lindo, Stanley Tucci, DJ Quails, that really skinny kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much the big names in it. But yeah, like Aaron Eckhart, that's probably the most like weird, silly, eccentric scientists I've ever seen him.
Yeah.
Hilary Swank, she's holding it down. She's a great actress. She
Yeah,
should
she's
work
the
more.
astronaut character that, Air Force, very straight-laced, I'm Hilary Swank.
Yeah. So I think everybody in this was trying, but it is
Yeah.
also really hammy, and it seems like they're having a good time with it.
Yep.
I would actually like to look up interviews they did around this time and just see if they're like, nah, it's a blast. It's a stupid movie, but it was a blast.
Yeah. It's the same director as Entrapment and Copycat,
Okay.
both 90s movies.
John Emile.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he did The Man Who Knew Too Little.
Oh.
The Bill Murray one we watched not too long ago. I love that movie. Don't really recognize any of the other ones. Huh, I wonder if this was his last movie. I'm not seeing a lot of stuff that goes beyond 2003.
He did a lot of TV after this.
Okay.
Directed some of The Walking Dead, directed some of Carnival Row. What other? Yeah, looks like he switched to TV after this.
Okay, I'm going to read this review by Mick T. Gives it 2 stars. He says, man, this was horrendous, but in a very bad, good way. The story is incoherent and the acting is broad. Great cast that must have been paid well for this. Let me borrow from the great Roger Ebert. If Anaconda is not available in the video store, rent The Core.
That's very accurate.
Yeah. I definitely had a lot more fun with it than I expected to. 2003, I would have been a junior in high school. So it's prime age to be like, fuck that stupid movie and not be able to have fun with it. And yeah, just being too pretentious. I think, I said that to you guys when we were done.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the perfect time to watch this. I'm 36 and this is awesomely stupid. I waited the right amount of time to finally watch this. I gave it 2.5 stars out of 5, and I liked it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. It's kind of exactly what you would expect from a disaster movie. There's no surprises. There's no standout performances or anything.
Oh, there's some standout performances. It's just not probably in the way they would have wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ignore all the science because there is none.
Stanley Tucci doing his little podcast before podcasts.
Yep. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's a bit. It's good. I don't know. Aaron Eckhart's kind of like, oh, Mr. Cute, sassy scientist, huh? I don't know. It's between him and Tucci. They're both playing some pretty ridiculous characters. Oh, I have to mention DJ Quills. He's the rat.
Yeah, the hacker. Yeah.
He hacks the whole planet. Some of that, I love Hollywood's impression of hackers from the 90s into the 2000s.
It's great.
All I need is Hot Pockets and my Xena tapes. And then the general, that's played by Richard Jenkins, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who's a great actor. I mean, he's the dad in Step Brothers and Dahmer. Cabin in the Woods. In one of my favorite shows, 6 Feet Under. Yeah, he plays the general, and him and his relationship with Rat. He's like, Mr. Rat. It's I kind of liked it. This is weird, cheesy general and the hacker learning to get along. I'd watch a buddy film of those two. Solving science mysteries.
I thoroughly enjoyed making Two-Face references the whole time, and the
Rachel!
Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Karate Kid references the whole time. The next Karate Kid, I should say.
Yeah, Hilary Swank.
Yeah.
I have to do this for the hawk that I'm keeping secure in the cage on top of a school. Yeah, we were kind of hoping that Mr. Miyagi would come in and, like, teach Aaron Eckhart and Hilary Swank how to fuck. Was doing, like, wax on, wax off kind of stuff. But, yeah. All right, with that wraps up our movie reviews for this week. And anything else until next episode, Dan?
I don't think so.
All right, so I guess with that, we're going to sign off, and you have a good one. I'll see you next time.
Yep. See ya.
Ta-ta! Thank you for listening to The Jacob Wayne Show. If you would like to contact us, please write us at fogkoshka@gmail.com. That is FAKOSHKA@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Simply search The Jacob Wayne Show and it should pop right up. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Please write us. It helps add content to the show and makes the show even better for you, the listener. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to